but I'm going to do a couple of frogs. You can fold a couple of frogs with me. I'm going to fold the box bottom. So I have here, it says frogs jump for fun. And we're going to fold a box top, which is out of just a smaller piece of paper and a slightly different fold, but it's the same thing. It's basically a simple masu box. And we'll get started. And then hopefully if Elaine joins us, she'll be able to catch up. But here we go. So we're going to start our jumping frog game. And this is meant for adults and kids of all ages. And now the frogs will jump depending on how, oh, I went into another box, you see. It went into that box. It's just, they're so much fun to make. You could personalize them. You can have little frog races with yourself or with family members. And Cheryl, your husband, can also play. And they're just so much fun. And it's given me a lot of joy just doing this. And I am not too old to play with toys. So no one ever is. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing is I'm going to put my little frogs all in their little box. And this is what's so cool is you can make a bunch of frogs and then get them packed up in the box, and then you can store it for another time, which is really cool. So now we have our box game, and I'm just going to set that aside and we'll start folding. So what I did is I have two different kinds of papers. This is the thicker paper that's a slightly thicker, and I found when I folded it double, like the normal frog, it was just too thick. So I cut it in half. So you don't cut yours in half yet. I'll just tell you, I cut them in half, exactly in half so basically you want a 1x2. I think it's 1x2 or 1x3. Anyway, but if you're going to do it out of standard origami paper, which is the first one I'm going to show you, because most of you probably weren't thinking to cut them in half. And if you don't have thick paper, you don't need to. So this is a standard, almost 6-inch piece of origami paper. And I'm going to just start by folding it in half. And this is the frog. So you just fold it in half with the white side together. If you are going to use the thick paper, you would avoid that fold. And that's what you have. Just so you know, if you had a thicker piece of paper, you're just basically dividing it in half. So the next thing you're going to do is we're going to create a little water bomb fold. And I'm seeing a little light. I'm going to fix that real quick. I have a bright light coming in here. It's all right. It'll be all right. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to make it's a valley fold, kind of a diagonal fold on both sides of the paper. We're just going to take this bottom edge and I'm just going to fold the corner up to that side. And I'm just going to give it a nice crease, unfold it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So we have basically a little kind of a cross, right up at this point. Now I'm going to turn it over, and this part here, I'm just going to fold this bottom edge to meet this top little creases right up here, if you can see that. So I'm going to fold this top to meet those creases. And then when I unfold this, I'm going to just pop that center part out, or pop that center part so it kind of becomes a mountain peak. And I'm going to collapse these folds. And now you can kind of see this will be the top of my frog. I'm just collapsing that fold and just give it a nice crease. Since this is double thick paper, this probably helps it to hop better too, to have a little body. So you can see the way that looks is it's kind of basically a water bomb base at the end of a rectangle. So that's that. And now the next step is to make the little legs, I'm going to fold up these top layers only. I'm going to fold the left side up and just kind of at an angle so that it kind of makes, and you want it symmetrical on both sides. And I've got this going on. That's the top legs. I've already finished those. So just kind of crease those. Then take the bottom edge and fold that right to this crease, right to this place right here. Just fold that right to meet there. Okay, so if you're with me so far, I hope you're with me. And I'm going to do this a couple times so you'll see. But now I'm going to take these two edges and I'm going to fold them inside. I'm going to fold them to meet the center area. I don't have a crease there, but I do have this little mark. I'm just going to show you this right where this frog, basically you want to fold these in half. So you're going to cupboard door fold the whole thing, all the layers, except for the legs, just leave those alone. I'm going to fold all the layers right to that center and just give it a nice crease because it's getting thicker. And I have a little bit of an angle there, so I'm just going to kind of re-crease it a little bit. So what I've just done is I've made a cupboard fold here, and then on the right side, I'm going to do another cupboard fold. So now I have two little cupboards. Now it's not that even. Mine aren't very even, but I don't think it's going to matter. I'm just going to, but I'll re-crease because I want it to be good. So now the next step is to fold this whole thing. It gets thick. Fold the whole thing up to that same top, that spot right there where the legs kind of intersect. Now I'm folding that. Okay, so see it's getting thicker. Now there's a little layer, there's one layer here that I need to pull this out, this little inside layer. So if I can't really bring it up too close, my camera doesn't do a zoom, I think it would be blurry. No, it's actually doing it. Okay, so I'm taking this little underneath layer and I'm just pulling it out, kind of pulling it out until it becomes kind of a triangle sticking out. If there's that, okay, and I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to pull the bottom layer out. This is how you would do a pinwheel. I'm just going to pull this bottom layer, only the bottom layer. I'm just going to pull it out, and it is thicker. I'm just flattening it into a triangle. And I want these little points to match up, these little points to match. So now I've got that. Okay, so then I'm going to take these little, I'm making legs now. I'm just going to bring that down and kind of at an angle, kind of the way I did with my feet or the top part. I'm just folding those points down. And kind of just want them symmetrical. You want them, and once it's so thick that you might need a bone folder or just have to push those along. But so now I've got the body of the frog. You can see the body, but I need to make it. We need to make it hop. So I need to take this is the hardest part because it's so thick. But I need to fold it in half right at the point, right in this point, right here. I need to fold that part. So I'm just going to take the whole thing and I'm going to fold it and give it a really sharp fold. Okay, and then the very last part, I'm not unfolding it. What I need to do is you can see this little area here. This little area needs to be folded in half backwards. So what I do is I don't take it apart. I don't unfold anything. I'm just going to take this whole thick, all of these this leg area, and I'm just going to take the whole thing and just fold it right in half. And it's very thick on this paper, so which will give me a nice jumping frog. So what I've just done is I've created a kind of an accordion on the back. So now at this point, I'm going to test my frog. And yes, well, he's a heavy frog, but I'm just going to test it. And he hops, but not as good as I'd like him to. But you just have to get into you have to push it and you kind of rub the back and it hops. And it depends on the kind of paper. Now that one went really far. In fact, I'll do it again. So you can see that works. So then if afterwards you just decorate make eyes or anything that you want to do. But I'm also going to show you how to fold it on a thinner piece of paper. So I'll do it again. We're going to do it again. So you just push basically to make that hop, you just kind of push on the back and slide in it. And you'll get the hang of it and how it hops. So here, I'm going to do another frog. This time I'm going to do a blue frog because it's pretty. I like this color. So this is out of the half sheet. So you can see kind of a little bit easier how it was folded. So I'm going to fold it in half. Like this little left side is going to get folded into the bottom left corner, goes up to that top edge, the long edge. I'm going to unfold it, and I'm going to bring this edge, the top left edge, goes to the right, and just fold it kind of so that everything, you want this little point on the left to just be nice and sharp. And then just go ahead and fold. Now you've got two mountain folds, and that's what you want to have it. You want to be at this place where there's two mountain folds. And I'm going to fold those, just going to fold the bottom edge to meet that very just where the mountains start. So basically you're folding it right in half at that intersection. And I'm going to unfold it. And what I'm going to do is take my finger and push up that little center part so that it's up, and I'm not making any new folds. I'm just collapsing it onto itself. And then I just want to crease everything. And you'll notice you might need to adjust the creases. Like I just noticed that it kind of got off a little, but you can play with it and just adjust the creases so that your points are nicely lined up over the bottom layer. And you want that to be nice and even underneath. Okay, so then the next step is to take your little legs and fold those up kind of at an angle. And you could decide maybe you want to try them closer together to see if maybe the frog hops better. So I'm going to try just a little closer together than I did the last folds. And then I'm going to fold it up, this bottom edge up. And I'm going to fold the sides to the center, the left and the right sides to the center. And I think the little legs being closer together just may make it hop higher. I'm not sure, but I think it will. And I'm going to fold the second side to the center. And now I'm going to fold everything up to that right in this middle part of the frog, right under the legs, or right where the legs start. And I'm going to open that, and remember to pull the bottom layer only. And you're basically extending that bottom layer to make kind of a long elongated point. You can do it on both sides at the same time. I usually just like to do one, kind of get that out. And you want the little point to be sharp. You don't want it to be off center. And sometimes, like I have to pull that paper to get it out. There we are. So you can see I got that point out. And the same on this side. Just going to get that little point out. All right, now that I have that, these little parts, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring the legs down, but like a little closer than I did on the first. Oops, I've got to go the other way. There's another way to possibly make these legs stand, to make them a little more hoppy than what I had before. And this, I'm going to just show you a little variation. We can get that to fold down. A little variation on these bottom legs would be to just fold the bottom points, just fold them up and just up a little bit so that they kind of look like this. They're kind of you can see I folded it up a little bit. You can do, that's a variation. Let's see if that makes any difference in its height and how high the frog will go. Plus it looks more froggy, I think. Yeah, because you can see the back is more of a bouncy back. So I'm going to take this whole bottom part with the legs and everything and fold it as far as I can go, basically in half, up. It just kind of automatically goes to that spot. And then I'm going to fold this little section that I just did. This section is going to be folded in half. So I'm just going to go take my legs, not the ones on the top, just this whole section here. And I'm going to just fold this whole thing in half. Right, so that just kind of makes an accordion, a small accordion. Now my frog is a little bit different because it has the little, maybe it should hop higher. Let's find out. So here we go. I'm going to do it. Oh, it went off the table. That's how good it was. So that will make your, I'm going to go get it now. Okay. So we know that the little variation in the legs will give you a little more spring. So I'm going to do this to this one. And you can do that at any time. So this little guy was sort of low. He had not enough energy. he was just kind of, he hadn't had his morning coffee. And so I'm going to just fold these little legs back and just create a little more spring by folding them back like that. I'm just going to go ahead now. Let's see if this guy has a little more pep to his step. Oh yeah, go on the box now. For this is the bottom, and this is 8.5 inches square. And basically it's just you can use a typing paper or office paper and cut 8.5. So that's why I didn't make it bigger. I could have made it 9 or 10. Any size is up to you. But I thought it'd just be easier to do it this way. So you're going to fold it in half. Just fold it in half like a regular. There we go. And unfold it, turn it, and fold it in half again. And this is the common masu box. So it's very, simple to make. And to make the lid, you just cut a different size. So I'm also going to fold diagonal folds. So I'm going to fold this in a diagonal. And I'm going to turn it and fold it again diagonally. I have a little slightly thicker paper just because I like a sturdy box, but you can use just any weight. So now I'm going to take all 4 points and I'm going to fold them to the very center intersection. So just take all 4 points. So I just rotate mine and make the same fold going in right to that center. And if you have a really nice square piece of paper, everything should just line up perfectly. If it's not square, it might be another problem. Okay, so and sometimes, like this was cut by hand by me, so I might not have a perfect square, but it still gets put together. So now I'm opening it. Well, actually, I'm not going to open it yet. I'm going to keep it this way. Now I'm going to fold this bottom edge to meet that center place. And I'm just going to go take the whole thing and meet to the center, not over it, but just to it. And I'm going to crease that really well. I'm going to turn it over or turn it around. I'm going to bring that bottom edge to meet that center, to meet that last fold. So you basically have another cupboard door. Now I'm going to unfold it just like this. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to bring the bottom edge, and you could do it with all layers, but it just gets too thick. So I have to unfold it a little bit and then just take the bottom edge, make it meet. And you can see the creases there that were there before. Those will help you line up everything. And take the same thing, bottom edge, and meet that center. Okay, so now all of the creasing is done. So what we need to do is open up one edge all the way out. Just open it and leave these 2 sides, but just open everything up except for keeping the 2 folded points in. And I'm going to make the sides of the box right now by just taking this and kind of reinforcing the crease and until it's up sideways. Now, if I want to add some glue, this is when I do it. If you want to get these little points down, I just put a little tiny bit of glue right in the center. Not a lot, but and that's how I kind of secure the bottom. I just do that on both sides, and I have a little glue for the other ones. So that just is a little tip to keep them together. So I've got my sides. Now I just need to get these collapsed into the center. So I'm going to start with one edge, and all the creases are already done. So you could see these little creases need to be they're already done. You're not making any new creases. You're just taking the existing creases and you're going to collapse the side of this box. You can see I'm just collapsing that edge, and then I'm going to fold this top part over this top edge. And how you can do it, I think the best way to do it is just to take it and just get those nice and firm on the side, and then just drop that down into the inside, and then I just secure it with the glue, which helps hold it together. Otherwise it can want to pop out. So then I'm going to take the second side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to collapse these little folds on the corners just so that they meet the edge, and no new creases, all existing creases, collapsing the box sides. So now I've got this, it's practically done. And I'm just going to take this bottom edge, needs to be down at the bottom, or this little flap, this needs to be inside right in here. So So all I need to do is take this and just bring it down, and everything goes together pretty well. And then you might need to adjust just a little bit on the sides, kind of pinching the sides a little bit. And then that's the top, or I'm sorry, the bottom. So that makes about 1.5 inches. Oh, the sides are 1.5 inches deep. So then we need to make the lid to be a little larger. And the way we do that, and we want a shallow lid. So set that box aside and get a piece of 7-inch or 6 7/8, smaller than the top. And the reason being is that we're making a shallow lid, so it needs to be a little smaller. So we're going to start the folds exactly like we did the top or the bottom. We're going to fold the top by folding it in half with the colored side. Start with the color side on the bottom. Fold it in half, white sides together. Open it up. Fold it in half again, white sides together. And you want to do the same thing, fold the corner to corner. Open it up and fold corner to corner, just like the other one. And there's only one difference that you'll see what we'll do to make it different. So you're going to also take all 4 points and fold them to the center, just like the first one. Okay, so if you've got there where you have all 4 points to the center, here's what's different. So to make this box, and you can measure or you can, it's a little, I've kind of figured it out already, but you want to fold, instead of folding at this bottom edge all the way to the center like what I had done in the other one, that would make them another smaller one of these. But to make a shallow box, you just want to make this edge. This is going to be my edge. So I want that I'm going to fold it, it's about 1/3, exactly into thirds, but I'll give you the exact measure. I'm just going to pinch, and here's how I'll show you how I did it, kind of as a way just to, I'm just going to figure out what that is like 7/8 of an inch. So just to make sure, I'm going to do this on both sides to make sure that I have it. And what I do is I just measure the distance between these points here, which is 3 1/4, and I measure this here. That's 3, and it's under 3 1/4. So that's good. So that means it's going to fit over that lid. So if you want to measure exactly, you're going to want to take, it's a 7/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to make a little mark. I'm going to do it with a pencil, so if I have to erase it. So I just want to make a crease, 7/8 of an inch. And you can do that different ways, but it's kind of, you don't have to be exact, but I just kind of was trying to give you a formula. Now, when you do that, so now I've got my first fold. That's determining all the rest of the sides. I'm just going to ignore that one. So pretend I didn't do that one up there. So what I have is a 7/8 inch little edge. That's my box edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it at clockwise, just a little bit, so that this is on the side, my left side, and I'm going to unfold it just so that my little white point kind of comes out. And what that will do is that will give me the next, so I'll have everything's going to be accurate. So I'm going to fold the bottom edge to this bottom corner, this little crease that's here. There's a diagonal crease that should line up exactly with the crease, this diagonal line that's on this bottom edge. So you can see, so if I do, then I'll make that crease. So what I'm doing is there's a diagonal crease that needs to line up perfectly with that. And that's how you determine the next folds. So I'm going to open this same thing, open this up and turn it. And I'm going to do the same thing on this bottom edge. I'm going to fold it to have that diagonal crease meet this diagonal point on that left side. Same thing, as I'm going to unfold it so that the white part sticks out. I'm going to bring my last edge. I'm going to fold it so that this crease that's diagonal lines right up. And you can even see if it's lining up on the other side because that crease should line right up. So now we are ready to assemble. I love this box. Okay, so you just like you did your other box, you're going to open up these sides, and these are going to be your edges. So I'm just going to bring those edges up like this. So I have a shallow sides. And again, like I did with my last one, I'm just going to put a little glue in the circle, just a little circle of glue in the center so that it kind of holds everything down. And now I have that. So the sides are now determined. And if I want to make sure it fits, you just kind of set it inside. It's going to be slightly tight. That's okay. So I could have made it a little thinner, but it should be fine. But that's how you figure out your sides. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did with the box bottom. There's no new creases. I'm just folding and collapsing on the existing creases. And I'm going to take these edges and fold them down and into the inside of the lid of the box top. No new creases, just take your sides and get those folded. And then bring the top and just fold it and tuck it inside. Get everything tucked inside. And then when you found that it's okay, then go ahead and press it down. And this should fit. And if it doesn't, that's because I made too wide of a lid, but we'll see. So it does fit, not easily. Now it doesn't fit that well. So that means I made my sides it needs to be a little bit less than 7/8 of an inch. So to do that over, if I wanted to do it over, which I will, I have another piece. I'll start it over because I'm just going to fold it in half. This time I'll make my sides a little bit smaller. I'm going to fold it in half again. So sometimes it's like trial and error. I'm going to fold it corner to corner. And even if you don't do the top, you've got a bottom, if you don't get the top, at least you've got something to jump the frogs in. This top was sort of a last minute thing. I haven't gotten all the formulas. What I could do is once I do, I can post them up on the site. I'm going to fold those corners in. And this time, instead of I'm just going to fold it a little bit less. Like last time it was 7/8 of an inch. I'm going to just go more like 3/4 of an inch. I'm just going to make it a little smaller, like that. And really, it's just kind of you really don't have to sit here with a ruler and do it. I know that this is definitely going to be probably fit now. So I'm just going to open this side up and let that white show, and that will be how I'll do the next fold. Just folding it to meet this little edge. My little diagonal edge needs to lay right on top. And I can have to adjust it. Right now is a good time to adjust. And make those creases nice and sharp. I'm going to turn it. I'm opening this page, letting this flap open. And I'm going to bring this so I can see this little diagonal crease is going to lay right, just going to line right up. And then the last one, I'm going to bring these here, folding this top last piece. It should work. So now I'm just going to assemble just like I did before. Now, if I hadn't have glued the other one, I could have taken it apart and readjusted it without having to use another piece of paper. So this time I'm going to do that because just in case. I'm going to go ahead and collapse it. Get everything, no new creases. Just creating that box edge. And then Do the same on the last side. Just not making any new creases, just collapsing those little sides, corners, pieces to go inside. And then I'm just going to drop that top all the way in. And this should be just the right fit. And it fits a little even on the bigger side. So really very little adjustment needs to be done to get that to work. So I can just put it on any of these boxes that I have, and so it works pretty well. So that's just kind of how you make the top, and then you have a complete set. But what I also liked about it was that I have a shallow dish for the frogs and a deep one, and a place to park them all. So